Hey friends, it's Mel. Welcome to my kitchen. This week I've got some amazing Mexican meals for you, and I have a beautiful dessert at the end. It is so quick and easy and delicious you won't want to miss it. And I'm going to start with a very quick and chatty little cook with me of a leftover makeover that I hope you won't knock until you try. So kick back, relax, grab your sweet tea, and let me do the cooking. Hello friends, welcome back. I'm just standing here straining some leftover pinto beans. We're going to make some bean cakes tonight. These are delicious. Sort of just the best of everything that you love. What I'm doing is taking my leftover pinto beans, and I've got a slotted spoon here, and I'm just kind of straining them a little bit, trying to get most of the liquid off. You want a little bit, but not a whole lot. If you've got, ham and stuff like that, I'm leaving that in them. This is delicious, as weird as it sounds. Now, pinto beans are wonderful, but I tell you what I really like is to make this out of white beans. That is delicious. I've already got some potatoes frying up over here. Will be great with this. The first thing we're going to do is try to really mash these pinto beans up. That's why I tried to get as much water out of them as I could, because I knew I'd still have some in there, and we're going to be mashing them. I've got a few things that I wanted to answer. I've got a little note back here, so I would remember everything. I was showing y'all my big new cast iron skillet last week, which I am loving. And some of you guys were asking how I clean it. The key to cleaning that cast iron is to clean it when it's hot. Now, I sit down and eat. I don't make my plate and then come clean my cast iron and then eat. I go ahead and eat. So when I get done and I'm ready to clean up the kitchen, I'll just turn my cast iron back on top of the stove and get it hot. And then I will run my sink water just as hot as I can stand it. And the combination of the hot water hitting the hot cast iron, anything that is stuck on there will come right off. I don't use any soap. I don't use anything harsh to scratch it with. Honestly, I use this right here to scratch anything off. I have a little scratcher pad from Pampered Chef. That would work good, but they make little like chain mail looking things to scratch them with. But hey, hot cast iron, hot water, a plastic spatula, you're good to go. So once I get everything scraped off of it then, and I, just take my wash rag or my sponge or whatever without any soap on it, and I clean it real good with that, I'll dry it off, and I'll stick it back on top of the stove, and I'll get it as hot as I can, and then I'll pour a little bit of olive oil in there. And I'll rub that olive oil all in. I'll just show you. I would rub it, after not this much. I just have just a little bit of oil. And then I would just rub it all over here, and I'll even go over the outside of my skillet too. Okay, back to bean cakes. Now, this is probably, maybe 2 cups. That might be a cup and a cup. Maybe 2 cups, maybe a little bit less. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of flour and start mixing it in. And you're just trying to get it to where you can make a patty out of it. So it's going to take a little bit here. So I always start out with a little bit less, and then you can add more. This is a great way to use up leftover pinto beans, put a new twist on it. If I wasn't already frying potatoes and frying these, I would fry some cornbread, and we would just have bean cakes, potatoes, and some fried cornbread. Also, since I've got those fried potatoes, you could make a fried potato sandwich tonight too. Just, whatever you like. Okay, we're getting somewhere now with it. And I'm just going to season this with salt and pepper. Plain salt. I'm not doing any kind of garlic powder, onion powder, none of that. This is a simple recipe. I don't even know if it's a recipe, but it's simple flavors, simple food, kind of depression style cooking. But let me tell you, you won't be depressed when you eat it. You'll be so happy. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, another question I had was, someone was saying last week, said, I have a hard time making chicken. I have a hard time baking it or cooking chicken, you know, that it just don't ever turn out right. Well, you know what? I did too. I always have. I overdo it. And so I just suggested maybe they're doing what I did. I always worried about not having it done enough. So I got me a thermometer. This little dude right here, I love it. It's an instant read thermometer, fairly cheap, and I'm using it on chicken, steak, and everything. And I'm learning to trust this little guy. You open it up, stick it in, and it'll tell you the temperature, Fahrenheit or Celsius, whatever you set it to. Then once you close it back up, it turns it off to save the battery. But I'm learning to trust this, and my chicken is looking much better for it. Okay, I've got my oil and my butter. It's nice and heated up over here. And this is how I like mine. I like them real stiff, like a potato cake. Now, if you wanted to put onions and all that stuff in them, you could. But I just like mine just like this. Now, I'm just going to put a real little one in here to start with. We're going to make sure this is holding together okay. Well, maybe my oil ain't as hot as I thought it was. It looked really hot. Okie doke. Now it looks like it's frying up good. Yes, it's moving around. Let's put some more in here. Don't want to get too many because I do them like I do my potato cakes. I put them in a little mound, and then when I flip them, I kind of squish them down a little. So I'd say about 3 is all we'll put in here right now. Oh yeah, it's smelling good. Let's check this first one. Oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. Look at that. Nice and brown and crusty. If you wanted to really be precise, you could patty them out like a hamburger patty and make you a big homemade bean burger. You could do with some black beans, white beans, like I said, any of the beans that you like. This is just a good way that I like to use up leftovers. Another thing that I wanted to say was thank you guys so much for hanging on. I've been having a little bit of technical problem with my sound, and you know, not a one of you guys has said anything about it. And that's just who you all are. Y'all are just the sweetest bunch. And it's not been bad. I mean, it's not like you couldn't hear me in my videos. You could hear me. But it definitely sounded like I was doing my voiceovers down in the Grand Canyon. Sounded like I was in a big tunnel there. But anyway, my laptop, my power button, would not come on. It was stuck. So I had to have a new keyboard put in it. So anyway, that's all situated now. Got my laptop back. So I'm back to using what I know. And hopefully it'll sound like what you're used to whenever you hear me. And my voice was just rotten from this old sinus infection, all these allergies and stuff. And thank you all for your prayers. You're so kind. Ow. So that leads me to the last thing that I want to say is that I just love and appreciate you guys. I love this community. Anytime that one of us is sick, we are praying for each other. And I just wanted to call on you in the next few weeks, especially, to be in prayer for our subscribers. God knows each and every one of you by name. He knows every hair on your head. And nothing that you're going through, He doesn't already know about it. And He's there with you. And you guys, most of you all know that. But say a prayer for our subscriber community. We've got a number of you guys that are having some real health struggles. And just continue to lift one another up in your prayers. We don't have to know the name of everyone. God does. And He'll know exactly who you're praying for. And He'll honor that. Anyhow, I just wanted to put that out there because I know the kind of people you are. Look at these. These are beautiful. You would want to know and have the opportunity to be praying to. All right, they really soaked up the oil, all that flour. So, whoops, that's a little much. It'd be all right though. So, anyhow, I love you guys. I appreciate this community. I say that all the time, but it's true. We truly have a blessed community here. All right, let me concentrate here and show you one more really good flip of these. There's the color they were. Oh, I'm going to mess it up. There's the color they are. It's just like frying. Gosh, it almost looks like a salmon patty. It's just frying up so good. But I do have my oil, fairly good and hot. We're probably on a medium low. But cast iron, it holds its heat and it fries up so good. See, I'll have to flip them back over and let that get done. But, let me see if one's cooled here. Oh, it's a little warm, but it's too hot. I can't do it. I'll break one open for you in a little bit. Let me show you the potatoes. Potatoes are done. I've got them cut off. Got my big pizza pan lid on them. Let me fry these up and slice some cucumbers, guys, and let's eat. Here everything is ready to go. I want you to look how many cakes you can make out of that little bit of leftover pinto beans, and they are big too. The best way to eat bean cakes to me is on some bread, not toasted. Keep it nice and soft. A lot of mayonnaise, and I am enjoying this Duke's mayonnaise. We hadn't had Duke's in a while, and it was great on here. Warm bean cakes on soft bread and fried potatoes. Don't knock it till you try it, friends. It may not be much to look at. You might think it's kind of weird, but it was delicious. Try it with your black beans, your white beans, your pinto beans, any of them. Now we're going to make an enchilada casserole. Starting out with a pound of ground beef, just frying it up with an onion, and we'll get it all the way done and drain all the grease out of it. Into that, you're going to pour about 2 cups of salsa. This was a little bit less than that, but I needed to get this little container used up and finished off. Put in 1 can of black beans that are rinsed and drained. Start incorporating all that together. And now what gives this little casserole the best taste is this 1/4 cup of Italian dressing. It just gives it a zip. It is so good. And I use an entire packet of taco seasoning. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. I think that's about a pack. I just always use a whole pack. Get it all mixed in together, warmed up, and then just turn it off. Now I'm using a 2-quart casserole dish here, and you're going to layer 3 flour tortillas in the bottom of this. Going to make it sort of like a lasagna. Going to use half of your meat and bean mixture. Then you're going to take some sour cream, about 1/4 cup, a little more, a little less. And probably the recipe calls for 1/2 cup of cheese in each step. I probably used about a whole cup, maybe a little less, but I did cheddar and Monterey Jack. Then you're just going to layer all this again. I will have you a Pinterest link down below for this recipe, and I will write my changes that I make as far as baking and stuff on it, so you'll be sure and see those. And I'm just going to spray some aluminum foil and put that over the top of it. And I'm going to bake this in a 350-degree oven. The instructions say 400 degrees at 25 minutes. The last time I cooked it like that, my tortillas got way too tough. So I did about 20 minutes and I looked at it and I let it cook about 5 more and I hit the broiler there at the end. I absolutely love this casserole. I've never tasted another Mexican dish that has that flavor, and I know it's that Italian seasoning. You can see how nice it would cut and layer up if you're patient enough to let it set long enough, but we never are. We just have to cut into it and eat it. But this is so good. It is great as leftovers, lunches, whatever you want. I just fixed a big bunch of lettuce, sour cream, chips, and salsa on the side, topped it with green onions, thoroughly enjoyed it. Now, I'm sorry you're going to get 2 Mexican meals this week. I couldn't help it. I've been wanting fajitas forever. I made some a while back, and I used the Kroger fajita seasoning. It was terrible. It turned everything red, dark red. You couldn't even see the colors of my peppers. I just didn't like it at all. So I still didn't have my fajita fix. I was sitting in the hairdresser's chair getting my hair cut, and the receptionist ordered lunch. I heard her order some fajita topped nachos or something like that, and I thought, I gotta have fajitas tonight. I just got it. So that is what I did. And I went next door from the beauty shop to the food line, and look at this deal I found on chicken. It was like the stars just aligned. This was like 2 days before it was going to be out of date, and this was $5.69, and there were actually 6 of these little individually wrapped chicken breasts in there. So I knew that is all I needed. I had already gotten bell peppers this week on sale. All I needed was some fresh chicken and some good fajita seasoning. So I just chopped my chicken up in little bitty strips, and I put them on the stove in oil. I'm just going to cook those up until they're done all the way through. Doesn't take but just a few minutes. Fajitas is one of the quickest things you can make. A lot of times I will keep fajita vegetables in the freezer, and I already have that stuff chopped. Now I am just going right on the directions of this package, and I highly suggest this Old El Paso fajita seasoning. I even had a Pinterest link pulled up to make my own, but I thought I'm going to give this one a try. I'll know when I open it. If it's bright red, I won't like it. This one was delicious. It had all the flavor that I remembered and wanted, and it kept the beautiful color of my vegetables to show through. So you just add the water in that it calls for on the back of the envelope, then you add that seasoning in, and I put a little bit more chicken and veggies maybe than what it called for, so I added a little bit more water just to get it nice and saucy and get all that stuff dissolved. Look how pretty those are, and they tasted delicious. Sometimes you just gotta go off of your plan and go with your heart. This was what I wanted, and when I'm looking at this right now, I could eat this meal again in a heartbeat. Okie doke, friends. Today we're making a heaven on earth cake, and this is all it needs. This is an angel food cake. This is one that I bought a couple weeks ago when Kroger's had it on a really good sale with the downloadable digital coupon. Realized I wasn't going to be able to make it right away. I bought it a little too early. I just got excited when I saw the coupon. So I just cubed it up and put it in the freezer, and it has worked out great. And this, of course, is going to use a 9x13 pan. Maddie is going to mix this up for us today. The first thing she's going to do is take this small 3.4 ounce container of instant vanilla pie filling, mix that with 1.5 cups of milk and 1 cup of sour cream. Okay, Maddie is going to start mixing the milk and the pudding together. And I'm going to measure out a cup of sour cream. We're making this today for my mom, also known as Granny. We're making this for her birthday. Granny loves all things cherry. Her favorite dessert of all times is Cherry YumYum. I made that for her last year, and I will put a link to that video down in the description box for you. Now Maddie's going to add this 1 cup of sour cream in and mix all that together. You could, of course, use any other kind of pie filling you want in this, or the Cherry YumYum either. Blueberry pie filling is really good. I have seen people make the Cherry YumYum and make like half of it blueberry and half of it cherry. But you use what you like, but we know Granny loves the cherries, so cherries it is for her. Okay, that looks great, Maddie. Let's move on to the next step. Now I've got this 9x13 pan, and I'm going to put about half of my angel food cake in here. I'm just going to eyeball it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, now I have a 21-ounce can of extra cherry pie filling. I'm going to use about 2/3 of this over top of your cake here and reserve that last third for decoration on the top. This dessert also calls for toasted slivered, that's hard to say, toasted slivered almonds go over the top. But we have a nut allergy in our family, so a lot of times I will not put those little toppings like that on, just so everybody can enjoy it. But if you can have that, go for it. This is a dump and go dessert. Everything's going to get all mixed in together, so really you don't have to be perfect with it. You just want to make sure you got a little bit of cherry everywhere. Now Maddie, come over here and you put the rest of the cake over the top of that. This gives me the vibes of a poke cake without poking the cake. You're just kind of cutting your cake up. Now the next thing you're going to do is take the entire confection of the pudding, milk, and sour cream you mixed up, put it right over the top. And we're just going to spread this out. Last but not least, you're going to use your Cool Whip, you know, like an icing here. This is an 8-ounce container of Cool Whip. Be sure and save your bowls and your lids. Take it with you when you take this dessert to whoever you're making it for, and they'll probably send you home some leftovers in this. Especially if it's your mama. She's going to make sure you get some to take home too. All right, Maddie, you come spread this out, and I'll move on to something else. All right, we're just going to make sure we got it all spread out here and maybe smooth it out. Maddie, ever the smart young lady she is, she said, "Mom, don't you have an offset spatula?" I'm like, "Yeah, I got 2 of them, different sizes." She's like, "Oh, why don't you ever give them to me to use? It would be much easier with an offset spatula." Yes, it would. Okay, now we're going to take that little bit of cherry pie filling we have left, and we're just going to dollop it around a little bit here. And y'all know I am not good. Oh, I'm not good at making things pretty. What I like to do, oh yeah, that's pretty, is just take my little spoon through here and move it through there and make it swirly. We'll just spread our cherries out some. Now let's clean her up just a little bit along the edges here. We're going to put the lid on this. Put this in the refrigerator for 4 or 5 hours. There you go. Heaven on earth cake. A cake only a mother could love. It's not ugly. It's pretty. It's not as pretty as the one I saw on Pinterest. But me and Maddie, we do all right, don't we, girl? And this dessert was amazing. Perfect for summer. Cool, light, refreshing. Oh, those pudding and angel food cake and all that together, it was wonderful. And I want to say happy birthday to Granny. And we all enjoyed eating this heaven on earth cake with my mom for her birthday. Friends, thank you so much for being here this week. I appreciate you taking the time out of your weekend to spend a little bit of it with me. And I hope when you leave here, you always feel a little bit encouraged and have you a little dinner inspiration for the week. So until I see you on Wednesday, remember, I send you love from my kitchen.